Hi, we're there with Carrie Brightwell from Bright Wellbeing for another episode of exciting news about happiness.
Well, someone's been taking the happiness pills or applying the principles.
I know. It's been so wonderful, all this excitement. Happiness is to create a competitive advantage. Okay, this is a significant advantage about actually putting your happiness first, not last, and using this to your advantage in your business and in your life. So we just have a quick recap about what we've been doing over the last 5 or 6 episodes.
And the reason why happiness is so important is because of those chemicals that it floods throughout your brain and your body. And it's these chemicals that help us perform better in terms of our mind and body, physiologically and psychologically. And it's that gives you the competitive advantage. So happiness before success. Happiness leads to success. We know this. We've been talking about this for a long time now. So we are today looking at principle number 6. Are you ready, Dara?
I'm so ready. It's unbelievable.
He's given up, or he's used up all of his excitement already. Okay, principle number 6. What on earth is this? We are referring to the 20-second rule, and this is a magic number of time when we are looking at creating good habits and stopping bad ones. Common sense is not always common action. So we might know what it is that we should do, but the question is, do we actually do it? And without action, knowledge is often meaningless. So it's about creating the right action here in order to increase our happiness levels. So when we talk about habits, many of us fail to stop a bad habit, or we fail to create a good habit because we are relying on willpower alone. And willpower is actually a depleting resource. So once that power has got down to a certain amount of level, what we end up doing is we go back to what is called the path of least resistance. And the reason why we go back to the path of least resistance is because it requires a lot less energy to go down that well-trodden path, the path of least resistance, the old habit that we had, or the habit that we currently have. So we prefer the path of least resistance because of this amount of energy. And the hardest part of actually creating a new habit is related to the amount of effort that we have to put in order to create that new habit. So when that makes sense, we go down the path of least resistance because it's less energy, and it's hard to create a new habit because it requires more energy. So let me give you some examples. We run an accelerator program, Be Bold Accelerator Program. You'll be smiling that I'm using this, Dara. And in this accelerator program, which is after the Be Bold, a lot of the guys in there, they're actually deleting their social media apps off their phone. Why? Because when you just press the app, it's less than 20 seconds between you and that interruption. And that interruption, as we know, can go from minutes to hours. All of a sudden, you've been scrolling for hours. So it's less than 20 seconds. Now, if you delete the app, what you're doing is you're creating more than 20 seconds between you and that bad habit if you have to log in. So you're less likely to then actually go away and get engaged in that interruption. Have you still got your apps on your phone, Dara?
I do.
Yeah, me too.
I use it as to keep on top of everything, but I also realize that there's plenty of time saved the other way around, which we seeing demonstrated quite a few times.
Yeah, absolutely. Another example is, this is a personal one for me. I used to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning because I would go to a gym class that started at 5:30. So what I used to do is I'd make sure that I got all my kit ready the night before. So all my kit was laid, got trainers there. So as soon as the alarm went off, I was up, clothes on, brush teeth, out the door, straight to the gym. If I hadn't done that, if it meant going to the wardrobe, finding all my kit, finding where my trainers are, I'd use that as a reason as that, I'm running late, so I just won't go today. So can you see how I'm bringing the good habit closer to me, and I'm creating longer distance, longer time between me and the bad habit? Like with chocolate, don't have chocolate in the house. So give me an example of what it is, a good habit that you're trying to create.
Well, I do have chocolate in the house, but I'm trying to create a healthy lifestyle in terms of healthy eating. Okay.
Yes.
I've been working on this for quite some time. When you'd help me with a bit of coaching on that too. So the habit is definitely developed. 23
Yeah.
days for a habit. So how I probably, I just make sure that my fridge is stocked up.
Yeah.
So that I'm not sitting there thinking about what else can I get, so there's plenty of nice things to choose from, so it's easy and it's.
Yeah. How far away is your fridge? How many seconds walk?
In the kitchen, it's, right there.
Yeah. Okay, good. And then how long would it take you to get to the supermarket?
Well, that would be for my at least a quarter of an hour drive, and then have to do the shopping and then come back home. So fair bit of a barrier. Yeah.
Yeah. So as you see, we bring the good habits closer. So you've got the good food options not so far away.
Mm-hmm.
And then we create distance between us and the bad habits. Is there a bad habit that you're trying to stop?
Well, that's interesting you say that, because that chocolate bar is actually closer to me than the fridge.
Whoopsie. How long has the chocolate bar been
that's
there?
solely willpower that kept that thing alive. Yeah.
How long has it been there? How long have you had it?
Close on a week now. But I started to realize now, just even during your presentation here, that's probably why I fall off the wagon from time to time, because it's actually sitting there. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're relying on willpower to stop you from eating the chocolate. Yeah. So what could you go on?
It's a little bit cheating that actually move everything out of the road. And from time to time, you do actually feel like something. That's a treat sort of thing. Just wondering how you apply the 20-second rule there then.
Well, you could eat it, so it's no longer there. I don't think that's the point. So what could you do in order to create 20 seconds between you and that chocolate bar, which happens to be closer than the fridge?
Well, my mind goes to actually putting it somewhere else. It's short of not having it at all. Okay, so like maybe putting it further away. Maybe in the other house or something, or putting it in my car instead. Well, it's probably not a good idea either. But somewhere further away.
Yeah, so when you're sat on the sofa at night time and you've got this little, I fancy that chocolate bar. If it's in the other house or if it's in the supermarket, it's going to take you a lot more energy to go and get that bad habit. So you're less likely to do it than you are as if it's right there. I've heard stories of one person told me that they used to freeze their chocolate, so they'd actually have to sit and wait for that chocolate to defrost.
Oh, well, that's a good idea. I like that idea.
Yeah. I thought you were going to get up and go to the freezer then.
Actually, I would probably end up, I'm going to use that actually. I'm going to actually break the chocolate up.
Yes.
So there's no temptation for the whole bar, so might have two pieces.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's a good idea.
I think we're getting the idea of the 20-second rule. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other example that comes to mind, now we're talking about freezers, I had a friend who used to freeze their credit card at the bottom of a bucket of water so they couldn't use their credit card. So if they really needed it, if it was a huge emergency, they just had to sit and wait for the ice to melt, but it meant that they couldn't do any impulsive online shopping. I love that. All right, so this brings us on to, okay, so how do we use this 20-second rule, this science, this research that has come out? And we're already talking about it. So the first thing to apply is to make sure that you are managing what is known as your activation energy. So let me describe to you what activation energy is. So if you imagine you are sat on the sofa, okay, it's going to take a lot of energy for you to get up from the sofa to go to the gym, than it would if you were on your way home from work and you happen to be going past the gym and you just go into the gym. It takes a lot more of that activation energy to initiate getting up and going. So we need to manage this amount of energy. And we've already talked about this. First of all, we put the desired behavior, the good habit, in the path of least resistance. We bring it in our way, so it's less than 20 seconds away from us. And then with the bad habit, the thing that we don't want to do, we need to push that away and create a 20-second barrier between us and whatever that bad habit is. And you're probably thinking, well, why on earth is that river there? Well, the water always takes the path of least resistance, right? It doesn't matter how many meanders it has. You imagine how much energy it would take for the water to push and create and carve out a straight line just to get from point A to point B. It would take it a lot more energy to carve through this undulating ground than it would just go all the way along the easy path. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Good. I'm glad you didn't say no, so I'd have to try and find another way of explaining it. Okay, so this is what we need to do. This is the first thing that we need to do in consideration to the 20-second rule. Manage that activation energy. Bring things closer, push things away. And then the next thing is reducing the amount of options that we have. So you imagine going to a restaurant and you've got a menu and there's about 60 items on the menu. How long does it take you to choose what you want to eat, right? When I see a big menu, I'm like, just give me one page so I have less choice. And the more options you have, the less likely you are to choose the option that is right for you, because you've got all these other temptations and stuff there. So when we reduce the options, what we do is we limit the barriers to change. Because again, it takes activation energy to choose the right one for us. And the other thing we can do is make decisions ahead of time, what's called second order decisions. So with regards, go on.
First one would be to choose a restaurant, I imagine. That at some level is healthy, right? Or potentially healthy. So Indians are out, and right, but it doesn't matter how big the chart is, it's all unhealthy. Okay. McDonald's, let's set it. So that'd be the first. Is that like the, what do you call it, primary level, and then secondary? Okay, so then second thing would be to actually choose it along the lines that you're talking here, right?
Yeah.
Just go and look out for the items marked with vegetarian or vegan, right?
Yeah.
Or gluten-free and so on, and find your choices that way. Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of the time what I'll do is we'll decide where to eat. I'll look online, see what the menu is. I'll make my choice when I'm in a good mindset, rather than when I'm starving, when I'm actually at the restaurant. I'll make my choice. And then when I get to the restaurant, I don't even need to look at the menu because I know what I'm having. And therefore, I've really limited the options for myself.
Okay, it's turning into a health show there, Carrie.
So this can apply to anything, right? Like on a Monday morning, you decide that you're going to go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You're more likely to increase your chances of success if you make that second order decision ahead of time. At work, you decide that you're going to complete the project or you're going to finish the presentation by lunchtime. You're more likely to do that then if you've made that decision ahead of time. And in the accelerator program, we always start all of our meetings with intention setting. What are we going to get out of the meeting today? What are we going to talk about? Again, we're setting that intention. We're creating the energetic pathway so that we make sure we increase our chances of achieving that.
And the commitments at the end of the session as well.
Exactly.
Setting it up for the rest of the week. So it's good.
Yeah. So principle number 6 then, the 20-second rule. Bring those things closer that you want to happen and create distance between those things that you don't want to happen. Is you're going to increase your chances of success and going down the path that you want to go down, therefore increasing your happiness, and limit the amount of options that you have so that you're more likely to get the result that you want.
Awesome. Great summary. I think we got it.
Exactly.
And there's one more to go. Wait for this one.
Thank you.
Okay, see ya.